Venice. The city of love, art, and secrets whispered through narrow canals. And in this city, where dreams float on water, a man who once swore he'd never believe in fairy tales found himself living one. That man was Johnny Depp. Now, most people know him as the mysterious pirate, the dark romantic, or the Hollywood rebel who never quite fit in. But few know the softer story, the one about how he met the woman who completely changed his view on love. A story that started in Paris, found its magic in Venice, and bloomed into a fairy tale wedding in the French countryside. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's take a journey into Johnny Depp's love story, the one that proves that even the wildest hearts can find peace. It all began in Paris in 1998. Picture this, Johnny, at the height of his fame, walking into a hotel lobby for an event. Cameras flash, fans cheer, but his eyes find someone else entirely. Across the room stands Vanessa Paradis. She's a French singer, elegant, graceful, and effortlessly beautiful, with that quiet confidence that only comes from being truly herself. He sees her, and everything stops. Later, Johnny would say, "It was her eyes. I just knew." Ever had that moment when time slows down? When everything around you fades, and you just feel something click? That's what happened to him. At that time, Johnny was known for his wild lifestyle, rock music, late nights, and a love life that made headlines. Vanessa was his complete opposite. Calm. Grounded. Where he was fire, she was water. Where he was chaos, she was peace. Their connection was instant. But it wasn't some over-the-top Hollywood romance with paparazzi chasing them down. It was quiet. Real. A bond that grew slowly, built on understanding and comfort. For Johnny, it felt like coming home. Over the next few years, their love blossomed. They kept things private, choosing the kind of quiet happiness most stars could only dream of. While others sought the spotlight, they found joy in simplicity, cooking at home, spending time with friends, traveling together. And then, one magical trip changed everything. Fast forward a few years later. The couple was in Venice, a city famous for its romance, where every canal tells a story and every bridge feels like it's hiding a secret. Imagine them gliding through the shimmering water, the sun setting behind the domes, the gentle sound of a gondolier singing in the distance. It was here, surrounded by the timeless beauty of Venice, that Johnny decided to take the next step. Rumor has it, under the soft glow of the Rialto Bridge, he got down on one knee. No cameras. No fancy setup. Just him, her, and the quiet hum of the city that had seen centuries of love stories before theirs. She said yes. And just like that, the man who once claimed he didn't believe in forever was suddenly ready for it. Their proposal wasn't about diamonds or spectacle, it was about meaning. About choosing each other in a world that constantly tried to pull them apart. Isn't that what true romance is all about? Now, you'd think two global stars like Johnny and Vanessa would plan a lavish Hollywood wedding, right? Well, think again. Instead of glitz and glamour, they chose simplicity. Their wedding took place in the south of France, at their countryside home. It wasn't filled with celebrities or flashing lights. It was small, intimate, and breathtakingly beautiful. The ceremony was held outdoors, surrounded by rolling hills, lavender fields, and close friends. No paparazzi. No chaos. Just laughter, music, and love. Guests later described it as a dream dipped in sunlight. And honestly, that's exactly how it sounds. Johnny and Vanessa were never the type to flaunt their relationship. They didn't need to. They built a life filled with real moments, the kind that don't make tabloid covers. They welcomed 2 children, Lily Rose and Jack. And instead of raising them in Hollywood, they chose the quiet charm of the French countryside. No flashing cameras. No media frenzy. Just family dinners, art, and nature. Johnny once said, "With Vanessa, I found peace." She's the anchor I never knew I needed. Coming from someone who had lived such a wild, unpredictable life, that says a lot. For years, their relationship became the perfect example of balance. He continued acting, playing eccentric characters and diving deep into his craft. She kept singing and writing, staying true to her artistic roots. And in between their creative worlds, they created something even more beautiful, a home filled with love, respect, and quiet joy. It's rare, isn't it? To see a couple so grounded in a world built on appearances. Their love story wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that's what made it timeless. Now, let's pause for a second and think about what we can actually learn from their story. First, privacy is a form of love. In a world where everyone shares everything, they chose to keep their happiness sacred. Experts often say that the more private a relationship is, the stronger it tends to be. It allows two people to truly connect without the noise of opinions or gossip. And that's exactly what Johnny and Vanessa did. They protected their love like a treasure. Second, balance is everything. A psychologist once mentioned that Johnny's transformation, from the wild, unpredictable man to the calm, centered father, was largely because Vanessa grounded him. She didn't try to change him, she helped him find his peace. Sometimes the best relationships aren't about excitement, but about calm. They're not built on fireworks, but on a steady flame that never burns out. And third, romance doesn't need to be grand to be meaningful. You don't need a 5-star dinner, a public proposal, or a mountain of roses to show love. Sometimes, love looks like two people sharing laughter on a quiet canal in Venice. It's about the emotion behind the gesture, not the size. Think about that for a second. We often get caught up in the idea of big love stories, the kind we see in movies. But maybe the real ones are simple. Maybe true romance is about connection, not spectacle. Johnny and Vanessa's story reminds us of that. Their love journey wasn't a movie script. It was raw, genuine, and full of heart. It had its ups and downs, like any real relationship. But at its core, it was about two people finding home in each other. And honestly, isn't that what we're all looking for? Someone who feels like peace after years of storms? What makes their story even more beautiful is how it evolved over time. Even after their relationship changed, the respect remained. They continued to co-parent their children with care and friendship, proving that love doesn't have to end bitterly, it can transform. That's the thing about true connection. It doesn't vanish. It changes shape, but the bond stays. And that's what makes their story feel less like a Hollywood romance and more like something real, something lasting. So, next time you think of Johnny Depp, don't just picture Captain Jack Sparrow or Edward Scissorhands. Picture the man who found love in the soft light of Paris, proposed under the moonlit canals of Venice, and built a quiet life surrounded by the scent of lavender in France. Because behind the fame and the spotlight, there's a man who once said, "With Vanessa, I found peace." And that single sentence tells us more about love than any movie ever could. Now, let me ask you something. What do you think? Is love really about the big gestures, the diamonds, the grand weddings, the drama? Or is it about the quiet moments, the shared glances, and the feeling that someone finally understands you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what your definition of true love looks like. And if this story made you believe, even just a little, that fairy tales can exist in the real world, give this video a like. It really helps us share more stories like this one. If you're in the mood for more heartwarming tales, check out our next video, Hollywood's most unexpected love stories that actually lasted. You might be surprised to learn which couples beat the odds. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another story that proves love isn't dead, it's just waiting to be rediscovered. Because maybe, just maybe, your own fairy tale is closer than you think. Love stories like Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis remind us that sometimes, the best ones aren't about fame or flash. They're about connection, patience, and the quiet moments that make life worth living. And that's what makes this one a true fairy tale.